Yo, what is going on, guys? Got a video for you here today from the Modern King about a woman who instantly regretted divorcing her husband. These women underestimate a man's power to move on from something so toxic. Now, today's video was suggested to me by Matrix of Madness. I'm going to leave both of their channels linked in the pinned comments, so make sure you go and subscribe to these guys. Don't forget to leave your own comments, and let's jump right into the video.
Watching my ex thrive, it's a beautiful thing, but it's really triggering for me because I walked away with literally having to start over after 12 years of starting over, of wondering if I'm going to be able to keep a roof over my head with my boys and not being able to just go out and play in our backyard like we used to, and wondering if I'm going to be able to feed them.
This is just proof of how horrible the court system is. This woman cannot afford a place to live, she cannot afford to feed her own children, and she's emotionally unstable, and yet she still has custody of the kids despite having a rich ex-husband.
Tomorrow is officially one of the biggest and most important days of my entire life. Tomorrow is my divorce day, and it's been a lot, to say the least. This moment I have equally dreaded and looked forward to, and the fact that it is now coming to an end officially tomorrow is mind-blowing. I cannot wait. I'm so impressed and proud of myself that I have been able to get through this divorce alone. To be 25 years old and doing something of this caliber is huge. I am the youngest of my friends to be married, and now I'm the youngest out of my friends to be divorced. So I'm gonna hold that with a lot of pride.
There is nothing stunning or brave with what she's doing. She's 25 and destroying a marriage and pretty much sealing her fate to be alone for the rest of her life, and she's acting like it's something worthy of a song.
It's Christmas, and I'm just crying because of how hard it's been. I feel like I'm trying to prove to myself I can be strong. It's really painful dealing with the loss of everything, not having my husband.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
The possessive nature of this woman is unreal. She divorced this man and then cries on the internet while referring to her as my ex-husband. She refuses to move on with the mess that she made of her life.
Yeah, imagine being married, asking for a divorce for a specific reason, and then regretting that later. Okay, so there was this woman on TikTok who made a video about her friend. So her and her friend went out recently, and her friend was married for 11 years to a man that she thought they were going to be together forever and ever and ever because they were just a super cute couple. They had a really good dynamic, and they got along really well and never had crazy issues, right? So but she's now divorced and has been divorced for 3 years. And so she asks her why did you end up, getting divorced? And she said, well, I am the one who asked for the divorce because I got bored.
There was a time when getting a divorce was so shameful that you couldn't show your face in the neighborhood without getting dirty looks. Now it's been so normalized that boredom is apparently a legitimate reason to get one.
She said the relationship got really boring. She was a stay-at-home mom. All he did was work, and they were well off. So this guy is putting in a lot of hours and a lot of work time so that way they can live the comfortable life they were living. Okay, he paying all the bills. So she said she got bored always being home, taking care of the kids and not really having them time or doing spontaneous fun stuff. Well, she would tell him about it and he would try to take her out and try to do stuff, but it just felt like it wasn't enough and it wasn't the same for her. That
if a husband is bending over backwards to try and make the marriage work and she is still complaining about boredom, then it's clear that she's the problem. That ex was so ungrateful.
Like it used to be when you're in a fresh relationship. What up? It's been 11 years. Spice it up. You do something. Anyway, so she asked for a divorce. He gave it to her, and she's been dating for these past 3 years. And so she asks her, how's it been? How's the dating life been? Okay. And she tells her, honestly, it's been trash. It was fun at first, but now it's not fun because I'm looking for something serious now, and no guys want to take shit serious. All they want to do is have fun, right? Club, bar, let's go out, let's do this, let's travel, let's do that. It's always go, and that is what she wanted in the beginning, but that's not what she wants now 3 years later, right?
This woman got the excitement she wanted, and now she gets to spend the rest of her life alone or with men who won't take her seriously, which is practically the same thing.
So now she's like, I want to get serious with someone, and I want someone to help me with my kids and help me, and I don't know. She wanted to be a stay-at-home mom again, okay? What she wanted was her old life that she chose to give up for some fun, temporary fun at that, right? So she left this good man for bullshit just to regret it. And he has been now in a relationship for 2 years of the 3 years they've been divorced. So a year he took to himself, then he found someone, and he's been with that person for 2 years. She has now moved in. She is now living the life that this woman once was living. And she herself has 2 kids, so he's helping her with her kids and his kids.
This is what happens when a good man gets pointlessly divorced. He moves on while his ex-wife gets more and more bitter as someone else gets to live the life that she threw away.
And she's kind of like offended by that. Shorty, you gave him up. He got every right to be happy. And he was a good one because somebody cuffed him up real quick and knew how to keep him. So all I gotta say is, if you got a good man, keep him. Keep him. Be bored. Figure it out.
The funny part about this is how this woman could have avoided this just by getting a hobby, but she decided that was too much work, and divorcing the man who took care of her was the smarter of the 2 options. Absolute genius.
I want to be independent. I don't need a man. I can do this all on my own.
A few moments later.
I just found out today that my ex-husband is engaged and I'm unwell. And like, even though, yes, it was me that was like, hi, I want divorce. I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. It brings up all these feelings. It brings up all this like stuff. And we have a kid, and it brings up all this stuff around him.
I'm telling you guys, ex-wives cannot stand it when their husbands move on. They want him to suffer just as much as she does. They honestly think he doesn't deserve any form of happiness if she herself can't be happy.
Guess who's single again? It's okay. You know, I've just come out of a marriage, so single. I feel good.
3 days later.
I'm doing really ugly crying. Because, oh, I didn't know my cat was in here. She must have thought I was crazy. Oh, I'm just really realizing that my marriage is over and it's really bad. Oh, I'm really sad.
Even though I don't want to be with him anymore, there is a part of me that wants him to still want to be with me.
This woman had no problem ending the marriage and leaving this man for good. She doesn't want him, but she expects him to still want her. She has no idea that once you break his heart, it is over for good.
And when I kind of think about like what gets me upset, or why am I so sad about certain things, of him wanting to also go through with the divorce, if I don't want to be with him.
When these women see that a man is doing better than her, it reminds them that they made a terrible decision. They were hoping that the man would be broken forever, and once they see that the opposite in fact happens, then they have a breakdown over it.
Me and my ex-husband broke up, and then I got lonely, met a guy, and I think things moved really fast. I don't know, I thought it was fate. Clearly it wasn't. Didn't work out. He broke up with me. He was done. Dating is just hard, you guys. It's like hard to imagine finding someone. It's hard to imagine there's a world where there's like someone who's actually meant for you. So hopefully I find someone. Like, I tear up every time I say that because I don't believe I'm going to.
This woman is so immature, not because she left her husband for Chad, but because she refers to the divorce as a breakup. That is such a weird thing to do.
I would give the pain a 10. A lot of people do tell you it's not that bad and things like that, but me personally, it hurt it really, 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 really bad.
I'm noticing whenever they leave out the reason for divorce, it's almost always because they caused it. This one, for example, was chasing fame and prioritized an interview with Drake over her own daughter's birthday.
You missed your daughter's first birthday for
To be here.
Dark. Regret that you'll never be able to undo.
Yeah.
Horrible parenting.
Where's your son?
Somewhere safe, and it's not his birthday.
It's rather disturbing how many single mothers we see who will place the well-being and happiness of their own children, by the way, secondary to their own happiness. That's not selfish, it's just straight up psychotic.
That's not fair. That is not fair!
you want to become a miserable old woman? I don't think any of us do. You've seen those women out there. The women that are nattering and nagging their husbands, that are bitchy, that aren't nice, seem to be so unhappy, and we think, oh God, I hope I'm never one of those miserable old women. That happens from raising a family, working, and then all of a sudden we're in our 50s and 60s and we have nothing. We don't have a life. We don't have a life separate from our family or separate from our husband.
It is not the husband's job to make sure that his wife has a hobby outside of the home, but for some reason, more often than not, he is blamed for her not having one, and the punishment apparently for that crime is going to be divorce.
And so we resent everybody. I did it. Here I am. It's amazing. I feel like a different person already. I feel like I can do whatever I want, and I'm not responsible for anybody anymore but me. I don't know. Things aren't going that great. I didn't know. I guess I did know. I would have this really strong reaction physically, trauma reaction, to finding out that my estranged husband has been having a new relationship.
Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
Madam, that wasn't a trauma response. That was jealousy and self-induced rage caused by a terrible decision that you regret making. But naturally, you have to blame your ex-husband because you have to be the victim.
So, here it is. In case you didn't know, and this applies to both men and women, being cheated on is traumatizing as I was married for 21 years, and cheating was never an issue in our marriage. In fact, that was the least of my worries. I never had to worry about it. I never thought I did. I never had a feeling that I had to worry about it. Never on either part, either side. And then I got divorced, and I come into the dating field, and it is an absolute show.
If there's one thing these women learn too late, it's that the dating pool for a divorced woman in her late 30s is filled with chads, simps, and con artists, and for some reason, they can never figure out why.
And if I had any idea what I was getting myself into, I probably would have stayed married.
When I decided that I was going to tell him that I wanted a divorce, I texted my therapist, our marriage counselor, and I was like, I need to tell him that I want a divorce, but I want to do it in a session so that there's like a mediator present. Got us in like ASAP, like 2 days later. And I walked in knowing that I was going to ask for a divorce. We sit down in our session. It's like really tense, really awkward. My ex was sitting there like, so why do we have an emergency session? Therapist was like, Jamie, do you want to start? And I just started crying, and I was like, I want a divorce.
Of course she cried. She needed the full support of her counselor and wanted it done in a controlled environment where he could do absolutely nothing except watch her put on a show.
You know, it's hard for me to like say the words. I'm done. I want a divorce. He sat there quiet. I'm sitting next to him crying. He didn't move. He didn't look at me. He didn't react at all. He just was stone cold. And eventually our therapist was like, would you like to respond? He responded right away, and he's like, fine, let's just go ahead and finalize the details. And that was that. I looked at my therapist and I was just like kind of stunned. I knew that I was ready to leave, but I couldn't believe that that was his reaction. There was no empathy, there was no compassion, there was no like wanting to fight for us. I didn't think that there would be, but you know, you just always hope that like one last try.
So in other words, she was just bluffing him so that she could get some validation and attention. He's clearly been trying to give her everything she wanted, but the second that he says no, she can't understand why.
We went home that night. We didn't speak. He slept on the couch. I woke up and went to work the next day, came home. He was playing PlayStation that night. I sat next to him. We hadn't talked in 24 hours. I said, can we talk about what happened yesterday? And he was just playing, just looking straight ahead. And he's like, what's to talk about? In my mind, I'm thinking, this is our last ditch effort to like steer this ship around, you know? And I was like, so what are we gonna do? And he just kept playing. And he was like, I already got an apartment. I already took my name off of the lease. He had done things within that 24 hours. He had opened up the filing folder of his single man life and went ahead and got all this shit done.
There was nothing to discuss at that point. There is no turning the ship around. It crashed into the iceberg and it is sinking, and she will refuse to admit that she was the one manning the wheel when it happened. But anyway, guys, we're going to be leaving today's episode there. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new here. Drop a comment and I will see you all in the next one. Make sure you take care of yourselves. Peace.